We had a hiatus, but it was only brief for 1 week, and we are back. That's me. I'm Matt Hatfield. That's him. He's the coach, Ed Young. And he's getting ready not only for Game 7 of Yankees-Astros, which we will do in Sports Talk
Come on,
Plus,
Yankees. Let's go, baby. I know Yankee Nation's out there with me.
but also some high school football playoff action, which is just a couple of weeks away, Ed. 2 weeks left in the regular season. We're going to go through. We're going to give you a region favorite in all 24 regions of the 6 divisions and a dark horse. And we're going to also talk about some of the local results in high school football in Hampton Roads in the 7-5-7, which is where we will begin, Ed. Last night, there was no real marquee game. In fact, Ed even said, you know what, Matt, take the Friday night off. Stay home, watch the computer, watch a little Westfield, Centerville, or Stonebridge, Tuscarora, which I did. I watched Westfield, Centerville. It was a 7-3 game at the half, and Centerville got blitzed in the second half as sophomore quarterback Noah Kim threw 3 touchdown passes. The guy was 6 of 6 for a $170 third quarter. Game's over, basically. I'm on Twitter for the whole fourth quarter for the most part, barring the one Centerville touchdown drive. And lo and behold, Cox and Tallwood is like the thriller of the year in the beach. 2 touchdowns in the last 3 minutes. Tallwood wins the game on a Sabian Stone quarterback keeper with 54 seconds left. We had on Coach John Keppel on the radio show. And Tallwood, what do you know, winning yet another close game.
Another close game. A lot of their games this year, I think if I'm not mistaken, 5 have been decided by touchdown or less. That means you're in your games.
That means you're in your game. They're 3-2 in those games. They'll take on Lansdowne, who is 3-0 in those games this year. Lansdowne 8-0 on the year, coming off the bye week for Tommy Reamond's Eagles. And Lansdowne has won 4 of the past 6 meetings with Tallwood, so they had that going for them. But Tallwood just quietly mowing along. Sabian Stone, quarterback, has done a nice job. I think he's the top passer in terms of yards in the beach. We know Brent Stukes is the most electrifying. Xander Gillick's done a good job at Ocean Lakes. There's some other quality quarterbacks, but Stone's throwing the ball well. They got Antoine Cade running it, and they lost so many guys from last year on the defensive line, led by Cam Washington to Old Dominion. They had 3 starters out to start the year injury-wise. They got them back, and I think Tallwood's starting to find something much like they did last year, just a little bit later than last year when they got hot.
Yeah, it's a decent year again for them, coming off of last year's, they finished 8-2 regular season.
And lost to Bayside.
And, of course, now they got to run into Lansdowne this week. But, if we sit here next week talking about a Tallwood win, well, then I think you look hard at them in the playoffs.
Oh, for sure.
Going all the way, that's pretty tough, but at least getting in there and maybe win at least a game. So look out for Tallwood.
They could be your dark horse pick in Region A when we get to it. But speaking of Bayside, they pull an upset, 23-13 over Salem. Trey Jones, the linebacker going to Navy, your pick for player of the year, has a great game. So does Naquez Saunders, the quarterback, with 3 takeaways on defense. They beat Salem 23-13 as Bayside bounces back from the 20-0 shutout loss to Ocean Lakes and a few other head-scratching results. If I had told you start of the year Bayside would beat Cox and Salem, 2 teams that have given them trouble in the past, but lose to Princess Anne and Green Run, you would have told me
no. I could see them winning those games they won, but I never saw them losing the games they lost.
Yeah.
No.
Well, and especially winning it after they just lost those 2 games not too long ago to PA and Green Run. And they're the team that's maybe most unpredictable in the beach. Tallwood's the wild card, and Bayside's kind of wild card B because you don't know what to expect of them. They could go beat a high seed and then go lose the next game in the 4 or 5.
And they got tremendous athletes. That's the type of squad you don't want to line up against.
It kind of reminds me before the Golden State Warriors got all those guys like Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. Remember the year they had Baron Davis? They were the 8 seed and took out the Mavericks and lost the next round. That could be them this year. They could be the 8 seed that you don't want to see, or the 7 seed you don't want to see, and then they lose the next game. So
they get crushed in a second.
They could be really dangerous in that game. And also in the beach, Kellum stomping on Green Run 42-8. They get 10 different guys to run for over 300 yards. It's the second time in 3 weeks they've done that, 300-plus yards rushing. They get Bayside next week. And I'm going to tell you what, you're going to probably take Bayside. I'm not going to be surprised if Kellum wins that game.
I haven't really thought of that one yet. First I've heard
Could be your upset special next week.
Could be. I mean, I'm the guy that picked Bayside to win the beach, so I got to do something with them to kind of take back, because they're not going to win the beach. So I've got to get my respect back.
Your respect. Put your respect on your name.
Put some respect on my name.
Ed Young's name.
That's right.
Kellum is sitting on the outside looking in as his Western Branch of that 8 seed, which Bayside has. Cox and Tallwood tied for the 6. Woodside the 5 at the moment, but they're getting ready to play Hampton, so that's going to change a little bit. Granby's a top 4 seed. And let's go to Granby now because they win again. It's now 4 or 5 in a row for Seiko Wilson's Comets. We were doing our Player of the Year poll, which you can find on HS Sports Talk 941, each district. And as it was pointed out to me, which Ed said, come on, Matt, you got to fix the Eastern District poll because we left Rodney Hammond, the great freshman running back from Booker T, off. He's got 900-plus yards, leading district rushing. We did. Sometimes we do. We make those every now and then. But we didn't have anybody from Granby up there either, and they're tied for first in the district.
That's strange, too.
And Shavia Williams is a great receiver defensive back for them who's led the way. They've got some good guys up front. Neil Lazar in the trenches. I think he's like a 4.8 GPA, which shows you how bright he is. But Granby just kind of doing it workmanlike, not real flashy, and here they are getting ready for a big trip to Thomas Dale, which could really help their seating even more if they pulled that one off.
I think that's going to be a tough one for them, which, that's why they scheduled the game. They're going to go up there. But they come back with a win. That's a team with momentum going into the this time of the year is when you want to have those wins.
And Granby's had some close wins, too. They beat Norview by 4, Lake Taylor by 2, Booker T by 3. Booker T's been victimized by some missed extra points the last couple wins. And, oh, by the way, they were down 10 to Churchland. Granby-Tallwood is not the sexiest of matchups, but it's a game that could be last played a game, team with the ball last wins if they were to meet each other in the first round of the playoffs in Region A Class 6. Other Eastern District things to note, Lake Taylor starting to win, get their mojo going. I think Hank Slayer's defense is figuring things out. Booker T, despite its losses, is still going to be in the playoffs in Class 3. I feel like they will, even at 4 and 6.
They can put points on the board, too.
Yeah, their offense has been solid, led by Hammond. And Norcom, I thought, got themselves an important win, responding from the loss to Lake Taylor, beating Morey 27-7. Got some injuries, bringing in some new kids. I know Kassan Dixon got hurt, who's my pick for player of the year in the district. Norcom's, I don't have a great feel for them right now. Their defense has been strong all year and consistent, but in that playoffs where they could see Hopewell or Phoebus in the second or third round, they beat Hopewell this year in Class 3. It's still kind of a mystery to me, like, have they found their offensive groove yet? I don't know that they have. I know they had that one game, but I still kind of wonder about them a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, they hit, 42 in one game, which is almost 3 or 4
Churchland,
games
yeah.
put together.
But the 2 against Lake Taylor, the 7 against Booker T, they've been under 20 like 6 times this year. And that just kind of concerns me a little bit, or 5 times this year, 5 or 6 times. I wonder if they have enough diversity in their offense, but also explosiveness in their offense. If you can neutralize a Dixon or a Quentin Green, and Dixon might be, we don't know what his injury status is. So I kind of wonder about Norcom. I think if they get a good seed, a top 2 or 3 seed, they'll be okay for the first couple of rounds of the playoffs. But I'm thinking long term for them because in Class 3, I think they're one of the top 5 to 10 teams in the state. I just don't know about if they can beat that top 5 team in the state when we get to November.
Yeah, it's true. I keep saying, as long as you got one more point than your opponent, it doesn't matter if you win 2-0, 1-0.
You keep saying that, but
when you get into playoff time, you want to have some points on the board. They're just not that explosive of a team.
Here's the thing, though. You don't want your offense to hurt you and now put your defense in a situation where you got to get a stop inside the 15 against a good team.
Right.
They beat Hopewell and Lafayette. We know their defense is good with Alan Boykins and Dixon, and Greg Amos had a pick 6 last night, and they've got some guys. Antonio Hines had a great start to the year at D-line. But you don't want to get yourself in a hole against those teams. I don't know if their offense can dig them out of the hole. That's what happened against Lake Taylor. So right. I'm still kind of wondering about them. And then a team that we were scratching our head about, but now I'm coming around to a little bit is Norview. They've won back-to-back games. I think they'll make it 3 straight over Wilson. Then they'll play Hampton in the great rematch. Remember that wild playoff game they won last year, beating them at the end on the touchdown pass by DJ Mack. And Delton Cotton's team has been right there, Final 8 to state, Final 4 to state. This year's team is young with a bunch of sophomores playing key roles for them. Can Norview get a 7-6 seed and be a team that knocks out a high seed? Could Indian River or Salem be on upset alert if they draw Norview or even Hampton in the first round? What do you say?
In the past, I would say yeah.
You don't think this
I
team's
don't
built
have
to do
that.
it?
Yeah, I don't really have that feel.
Well, quietly, Norview's defense, take away the Northeastern game, who's undefeated, first game of the year, a team out of North Carolina who's very powerful. They're only giving up 12.6 points per game on the year. So they got Derek Easton, the NC State commit up front. Their record isn't as glossy as it's been. Their stats, especially on offense, aren't as glossy as they've been. They've had some trouble offensively, much like Norcom. But their defense is giving them a chance to be in the game with some good teams. They only lost to Granby by 4, Lake Taylor by 7, Lake Taylor by 8. Those 3 teams, Granby, Lake Taylor, and Norcom, tied for first in the district. And I think Norview could be a sleeper. Again, not to win multiple playoff games, but in the first round, they've won before. They got kids that have been used to the playoffs. I don't think they're going to be daunted by it.
No, I just don't think they're quite as strong. And again, it's like we're going to say this about every team. It just depends on who their matchup is, who matches up better against each other.
They're the only lower seed in Class 5 that I would think about probably picking is what I'm getting at in the first round. So at this point, so we'll see. Moving over to the Peninsula, we'll come back to the southeastern side of things. Gloucester had the 5-game winning streak snapped by Phoebus, 27-7. Phoebus had that big win over Hampton last week. The sophomore quarterback Chris Daniels driving them down the field to win the game. Did it a lot with his legs more than his arm. That's the type of game, and Coach Jeremy Blunt said it afterwards, Ed, when they beat Hampton. That was a championship caliber win in a hard fought, tough game over their rival who beat them 44 to nothing last year. I thought that was a huge, defining type moment for Phoebus to win that game. Did you not?
Yeah, in the year that they're having, the game could have went either way, but I do think big for Phoebus. Should be able to win out and then be the number one seed in 3A and make that march toward a state title.
And this is a year where they don't have that marquee next level guy, an Xavier Adibi who went to Virginia Tech at linebacker, a Taj Boyd who went to Clemson, the quarterback, or a Ramon DeLoach, wide receiver, who's played, I think, now in the CFL. But they got a lot of very good defensive players. Darryl Bryant had a pick last night. Latrell Smith, Damian Charity on the back end. You got Juan Purdy at defensive end. And then those two running backs, Daniel Wright, who got the MVP in the Great American Rivalry Series, Daquan Fleming, and a 10th grade quarterback who I think his confidence has to be through the roof now. Think about it. A month ago, 3 picks and a close win over Woodside. We said, can Phoebus throw the ball? Doesn't have a lot of yards or touchdowns, but they won a game over Hampton where he drives them on the field to win it. That's got to bode well for him in the playoffs, thinking that Phoebus will be in that Final Four, Final 8 round, and they could see a team, they're going to need him to drive them down the field against maybe a Lord Botetourt, a Stanton River, a Heritage of Lynchburg, somebody of that quality, and he showed he can do it.
Yeah, I think that team has confidence with their younger guys. They do it on both sides, full defense, offense, special teams even. I understand that special team stuff works too. So I think that's a team built for playoff time and more than one win.
Just 2 victories away over Kickinton and Menchville from their first undefeated regular season since 2012, the year they lost to Lake Taylor in the region championship at Harbor Park. So it's been a while since Phoebus has had this type of regular season run. They've had a couple of trip-ups the last few years. And then also in the Peninsula, I'm curious to see what Woodside does with Hampton. They've won 3 in a row. They're a team, their seating is going to change drastically based on that result with the Crabbers. Gloucester, I think, is solidly in Class 5. And the Heritage is a team. We haven't talked enough about them. Mentioned about snubs for Player of the Year. Hammond for the Eastern District. We didn't have Darius Price, the quarterback for Heritage. 4 touchdown passes in the first half against Menchville. And ever since they started 1-3, the defense was giving up 31 points a game. Now they're giving up just 6.4 points per game during the win streak. Not playing a lot of heavy hitters in terms of competition-wise, but George Chubb's Massenberg has shown now over a 5-6 year period as the coach there that his teams get better as the season goes along and they make adjustments.
That's important to do too, especially when you get in playoff time. You're not as familiar with your opponents. You're able to make those adjustments at game time. They put points. Heritage is going to. They got athletes. They're going to put points on the board. It's just a matter of stopping people too.
Well, remember, Darius Price played some last year when Jeremiah Boyd got hurt, the Naval Academy commit, playing QB and linebacker for Heritage, and they did lose a key receiver, Nemanja Watson, to William & Mary, but they brought back one in Tim Payne, who's just as fast. Maybe not the total receiver package that Watson is, but I think he's just as fast, if not faster, so he can make plays down the field. So their passing game's got a little bit of big play potential to where Heritage feels like they probably can stand up now against a Lake Taylor, a Lafayette, a Kings Fork, a Deep Creek in Class 4, and they're going to be a hard out in November.
Yeah, I agree. When Heritage started out, they were 0-2.
Lost to Warhill that first game of the year, which we all were like, what in the world? How did lose to Warhill?
That, of course, Phoebus, it's a tough opponent to begin with. So I like them. I like them in the playoffs.
They're probably a 6 seed, which means they could see Kings Fork or Deep Creek in the first round. If their offensive line can block those 2 defensive lines, whichever one they see, I think Heritage has got a real shot in that game. Especially Deep Creek, who hasn't been to the playoffs before and has that experience.
Get that experience, exactly right.
Speaking of Deep Creek, they bounced back from the loss to Oscar Smith by beating Nansemond River 28-7. I think the lone score for Nansemond was a touchdown pass by Corey Riddick. I want to say it was a Gerard Stringer, but Deep Creek again gets back to that running game with Damian Everett, almost 200 yards rushing. They'll get to Sean Jones back. Now, here's a question for you as a coach, Ed. You bring Jones back, who was your quarterback, got hurt against Indian River. Michael Ure hadn't played great at QB until last night, had his best game against Nansemond. Do you keep Ure in off the good game? Do you use them both? Do you play one at receiver, one at quarterback? What do you do going to this Kings Fork game?
I bring Jones back in. It was his job until he got hurt.
Okay.
If he's ready, put him in there. You're confident now that he isn't or something happens, you can go to Ure. But Ure did his job, what was expected of him. He was the emergency-type quarterback. He didn't play it since, I guess, middle school and a little bit of JV.
Yeah.
But put him back where he's strong, put the quarterback where he's strong. Don't weaken the team by moving some people all over the place where they don't normally play. And then we'll go from there.
Kings Fork has a closer than expected result against Lakeland, 21-6. Their defense has been a lot better this year compared to last year. We knew their offense had the explosiveness to them with Justin Sherman at quarterback and Darren Butts at running back, who I think is your call for player of the year, ever a candidate for Deep Creek running the ball. They got a deep and fast receiving core. They're about 5'6" deep at wide receiver. You know about all the athletes and skill kids they have. I gave a slight edge to Deep Creek on defense for the matchup coming up. I think Kings Fork's offense is more diverse, more balanced, more explosive than Deep Creek's. But like I said to you on the show, I feel like Kings Fork's defense matches up better with Deep Creek's offense than Deep Creek's defense matches up with Kings Fork's offense.
Right, which means Kings Fork is going to put points on the board then.
Yeah, and I don't know that Deep Creek is built to come from behind, and Kings Fork can do some different things. The one thing I'd worry about in this game is penalties. If Kings Fork keeps having this penalty problem, they're not only going to have trouble with Oscar Smith, they're going to have trouble with Deep Creek, and they could go into the playoffs with 2 straight losses off this 6-game winning streak they've now pieced together since that Western Branch loss. And they got to be saying to themselves, man, that Western Branch loss could come back to bite us from getting the number 1 seed in Class 4, which Lafayette is trying to zero in on, as is Deep Creek. Speaking of Western Branch, they're now on the outside looking in despite the win over Great Bridge. And their last 2 games, Indian River, Oscar Smith, those 2 teams play on this Saturday afternoon as we're taping it before the game. Western Branch, are they going to get in? Can they spring an upset against Smith River? They've done it against Indian River the last couple of years. Can they do it again this year to get in?
I just don't feel as confident with Western Branch as I've done in the past.
Some injuries up front with Alexander out.
Could they? Anybody could spring the upset. I just don't think right now it's in the mindset that they can, and it's not so much them, but who they're playing.
Well, and they had that big win over Kings Fork sandwiched in between the losses to Lake Taylor and Deep Creek, and they just haven't gotten on a roll. A game against Grassfield, they couldn't get the win, and it hurt them, I thought, losing that lead. And they've matched up well with Oscar Smith in the past. I'm not seeing it now. Nobody's given up. Nobody's scored more than 7 on Oscar Smith in the district.
Yeah, they're not going to give up points.
And I just have a hard time seeing them. And the thing is, Western Branch's defense has been a little up and down. They've had Jalen Alexander dinged up, and they're younger on the back end and the linebacker than they've been in the past. So curious to see what happens there. And Grassfield fighting for its life in Class 6. They're going to need to upset Indian River, Nansman, maybe both, to get in Class 6 because they're behind 2 or 3 different teams there.
Well, if they win both, that it definitely helps their cause. One helps a little. Lose both, probably not. But, it's a team that they lost a lot of graduation. They opened up, 0-4?
Yeah.
And now they
Tough
won
schedule,
3
too.
of their last 4. So, again, you're getting hot at the right time. But, Indian River is a tall task. And at Nansman River not quite having the season I think we thought they would have, but decent. Grassfield has their work cut out for them.
Schedule makers did them no favors.
No.
At all. And real fast on the Bay Rivers, thing that caught my eye, Pocosin coming from behind to beat Bruton, looking ahead to Lafayette.
Yeah.
That's got to be the main thing there, right?
Main trap game, yeah.
And Smithfield, in your eyes, you said they went 8 straight after the 0-2 start. You still feeling that? Grafton and Bruton next, right?
Yeah, I still at Smithfield after, yes. I think so.
Well, let's go to the divisions now, starting from 1 to 6, and we'll go through them rapid fire style. 1A, Class 1, Region A. Give me your pick to win it, and then a dark horse. You got Essex, Sussex Central, West Point, Washington Lee, Northumberland, Colonial Beach. Who you got? I know you've been flipping back and forth between Essex and Sussex Central. Sussex beat them in the opener, 6-0. I'm going to go with Sussex as my pick to win it, and my dark horse is going to be Colonial Beach. What do you got? Give me a winner and dark horse.
I'm going to go with winner.
You're going to go Essex?
They're sitting on top right now.
Yeah, and they scored 70-something points last night on Lancaster.
Yeah, I would go Essex as the top team.
And who's your surprise in that bracket? You go Northumberland? It's your buddy up there.
It's my buddy Mike Stevenson. He don't coach football, but he gets in the way. I'm going to go with Northumberland.
All right. Region B, Riverheads just suffered their first loss of the season to Robert E. Lee Stanton last night. There no more undefeated in state in Class 1 and Region B in Class 1. You got Riverheads, William Campbell, Central Lunenburg, Alta Vista, who's usually a sleeper but having a rough year at 1-7 going into this week. Stonewall Jackson. I'm going to go Riverheads as the favorite, and I really don't see a surprise team there. I'm just going to go Riverheads as the favorite. It's a small region, so I'm not going to go with surprise.
Yeah, I'll go obviously Riverside and.
You like William Campbell, though. They could do some
Yeah,
damage.
if anybody gets in there, it's going to be a major surprise.
Region C, you got Narrows, Galax, George Wythe, Covington, Auburn. Perry McClure's could be a surprise. I tell you what, I'm going to go with the favorite now as Galax. I know Narrows has got the defense, which you like. Wythe was my preseason pick number 1 in the state. And I'll go Perry McClure as a surprise team. If they get a low seed and they get in, watch out. They could upset the apple cart. Who's your favorite, Galax, Narrows, or George Wythe?
Galax.
All right. And you got a surprise team there? You see one or no?
Auburn.
Auburn, okay. Region D, Patrick Henry, Glade Spring, Grundy, Hurley, Thomas Walker, Castlewood, Chilhowie. I love Chilhowie as my surprise team. They've got some athletes there, can score bunches. My favorite was Grundy until they lost. I'm going to go PH Glade Spring, Patrick Henry Glade Spring. What do you say? You concur?
I'm staying Grundy.
You're going Grundy, and any surprise there, you say?
Surprise would be...
Hurley was good last year.
Yeah, I'm going to go... What was Thomas? I'm going to go with...
Thomas Walker.
Thomas Walker.
All right. Going over to Class 2 now as we work our way up. Some more teams that Ed's a little better first in. Pocosin's at the top of the list. Goochland. I'm going Goochland as the favorite.
Goochland. I just like saying Goochland.
Good defense, man. Brought back a lot of experienced parts in the defense. Surprise team. Give me Greensville. They took it to Franklin last night. I'm going to go Greensville as my surprise team there. I think they took it to Franklin last night. What was the score of that game? They ended up beating Franklin last night 70-12, Ed.
That was...
They got basketball points there. They put up more points than the basketball team. Well, 70 on Franklin. You're going Goochland as a favorite. You got a surprise team? Nottoway, Amelia, anybody jump out at you?
I'd go... I'd like to see Pocosin win. I really would.
Bruton is going to have a shot to get in, by the way. Even though they came into the week as the number 7 seed. They could get in Region A.
I would say to win it, Goochland.
Goochland, no surprise. Okay.
And then no surprise team, I would go Amelia County.
Okay, Amelia for Ed there. Region B, Clark County, who took the loss to Central Woodstock 40-0, but they're ahead in the power ratings going into this past week. I'm going to go Central Woodstock as a favorite. They've been scoring like 56 points a game. You can't go against them. Although you love Robert E. Lee, and they just beat Riverheads, who was number 1 in the state in Class 1. Luray, East Rockingham, George Mason. There's some surprises. Yeah. Give me East Rock as the sleeper. So Central Woodstock and East Rock as the sleeper. What you got?
Okay, I'm going Central. Win it.
And surprise?
Luray.
Got the good quarterback, Dylan Jenkins. Glenver, Appomattox, Giles, Gretna. Appomattox is 2-time defending champ. Until they're beaten, I'm going
Until they're beaten,
Appomattox.
I like that too.
Glenver just took a surprising loss to Giles, who would be my sleeper. But I'm going to go with my sleeper as Gretna. They've been much improved this year. Watch out for them.
Okay, give me my surprise.
You want Dan River?
Yeah, I like Dan River.
All right. Region D, Union with James Mitchell, the tight end star. Leading the way, Marion, Ridgeview, Graham, Virginia High, John Battle. Almost surprise you and go, Union's really good. I almost surprise you just for the sake of this video show to get people all up in arms, all the people out west. The Graham G-Men as the team.
Wow.
Got a big win in overtime, snapping an 11-game losing streak to Richlands, who's a perennial power. A little bit down this year. I'm not sure they're going to get in. They're my team. My sleeper will be Virginia High, but I'm going to surprise you and go with Graham over Union and Marion, Ridgefield, all those teams. You're going to go with Union, aren't you?
I'm going Union.
Yeah, I'm a nut job.
Stay with the Union, man.
Yeah, I'm a nut job.
Well, that's
Any
definitely.
surprise?
I would go. How about Virginia?
Virginia High, you like me.
Virginia High.
And then now we go to Class 3, a little bit more better versed here as we move along up here with the higher divisions. Phoebus, Norcom, Hopewell, York, Southampton, Booker T. I know Keith likes Southampton as a surprise team. So do you probably, even though Tyron Hunt's not here anymore. I'm going to go favorite Phoebus until proven otherwise. And believe it or not, you're going to hear a shocker to me. People say Booker T, Lakeland. I'm going to go Booker T as a surprise team. Watch out for the Bookers. They're young, but they get the right draw. They could give someone a scare. Almost beat Norcom the first time they played this year. Watch out.
Yeah, I like
Phoebus is the favorite, right?
Phoebus the favorite.
Who do you like as your surprise? Bookers, Lakeland?
I'll go Bookers.
I thought you'd make the Suffolk people happy since you got to play Lakeland, and they're going to throw eggs at you when you play in basketball this year.
They're a little bit more classy.
They told me they got
Lakeland's a little more classy.
See, that's a little dig at Kings Fork because he's saying they're a little more classy, which is kind of saying that Kings Fork is.
No,
is that what
they're
doing?
both.
I'm trying to ruffle the feathers.
Both fan bases are good people. We get a little wild in the game, but
that's not what he says off camera.
I said off camera they're great.
He's lying. This is the worst region in America, and I'm sorry, but it is. Region B in Class 3. TJ is 4-3 the number one seed. The number one seed is going to be 5-5 in this region, maybe. That is horrendous. The favorite's James Monroe. The sleeper's James Monroe. The rest of them are all sleeping. Give me James Monroe.
No, I got James Monroe, but a sleeper, give me Culpeper.
You're going Culpeper, all right. No, they just lost last night.
So there goes that.
There's your sleeper.
Goes
that region is terrible. I'm sorry, I just knocked a whole bunch of schools. I'm not trying to be mean here, but that region is just. James Monroe played a tough schedule, and that's going to prepare them. That region's just, oh my gosh. Region C. Heritage, Lynchburg, Brookville, Monticello, Spotswood, Rockbridge County's got the great quarterback Ben Rodenizer, which we spotlighted on the site this week. This is an interesting region. There could be a lot of high-scoring games, which is right up your alley, Ed. Give me Heritage, Lynchburg, because they have the best running back in Elijah Davis, and I think that will win out. But Brookville might have the best quarterback in Tanner Bernard. There's some good QBs in this region.
Yeah. Give me Heritage, Lynchburg. Give me Spotswood.
Spotswood is your sleeper with Drake Tomasi applying pressure. I'm going to go with Rockbridge as my sleeper. Region D, you got the top heavyweights here. Stanton River, Lord Botetourt. Who's the team? It's 1-2 there. Magna Vista is usually good, not as good this year. Northside gave Lord Botetourt a scare last night. Abingdon's my sleeper. Cave Spring, Allegheny. I'm going to go with Stanton River as the slight favorite over Lord Botetourt with Abingdon as my sleeper.
Let me have Lord Botetourt and give me Northside.
Northside, all right. Sleeper. You think the defense will be solid there. Magna Vista could do something in the playoffs. Now we're at Class 4 here. Lafayette, Deep Creek, Kings Fork, Lake Taylor, Smithfield, Heritage. I've been high on Heritage as a surprise team. I'm going to tell you the sleeper is Smithfield. Why? Because their defense is playing well, and Willie Drew is capable of them winning multiple games in this bracket. So give me Smithfield as a surprise team. And a team to win it right now is Kings Fork. They're the favorite. You're going to go Lafayette or Lake Taylor?
I'm going to stay with Lafayette.
Ooh, over all those teams.
Can't believe, not saying the name Lake Taylor.
Lafayette's really good, especially on defense. I'm not sure they have enough speed, athletes, and depth. All three of those things, speed, athletes, and depth, to win all those games if they see them. They can beat any of those teams, but I don't think they can win all those games. They can get tripped up. Who's your surprise? You can go Heritage?
Yeah, I'll go Heritage.
Region B in Class 4, Dinwiddie, Monacan, both unbeaten. That's going to be a great matchup. Shall we get it? Louise is also undefeated. Easternview's undefeated. It's hard to see 4 teams undefeated, which they could all be. Louise has got Charlottesville next week. Dinwiddie's still got to play Hopewell. I'm going to say Dinwiddie's the favorite. Number 1 in the state for a reason. And a surprise team, it would ordinarily be Huguenot, but they're going to get, I think, smoked because of their draw. I'm going to go Easternview as a surprise, which is hard to say as an undefeated team, but they could be a 4 seed.
That's the problem. You got like 4 or 5 teams are undefeated. So.
Yeah. 4 of them, yeah.
Dinwiddie to win it.
Who's your surprise? Easternview or Louisa? Louisa, all right. If that can be technically a surprise. Region C, you got Liberty, Bealton, Millbrook, Woodgrove, Sharando, Dominion, Kettle Run. I'm going to tell you the sleeper is Dominion. They had that early loss to Clark County, but they got a couple of scholarship kids on their team with George Richardson, the receiver, and Jade Pierre, defensive lineman. The favorite to me, though, by a slim margin, is going to be Millbrook. So Millbrook the favorite, Dominion the sleeper. Who are you going with? You going with the unbeaten Liberty, Bealton?
Yeah, there you go, Liberty, Bealton.
And then your surprise is?
I would go, let me see, Sharando. Is that Sharando?
Yeah, I'm going to go Sharando. And then Region D, we close up shop here. EC Glass, Blacksburg, GW Danville, Salem. You know, GW Danville's averaging like 56 points per game the last 6-7 games. It's like basketball and grass out there. They're the sleeper.
Yeah.
They're the 3 seed.
How come
Although
they're not a favorite?
Salem's 2-time defending champ at 5-2. They could be viewed as a sleeper. The favorite to me is Blacksburg. They got Cole Beck going to Virginia Tech, the running back, defending champ in Class 3. Now in Class 4, still beating people. I'm going Blacksburg the favorite. And GW Danville as a sleeper, as crazy as it is to say. Although you have a William Byrd team until last night was undefeated, pushed Stanton River to the limit, and they're going to be like a 6 or a 7 seed. That could be a sleeper.
That's a tough thing, conference. Give me, dang.
You want to go Salem as the favorite still, with all their history and pedigree? Or do you go in Blacksburg because they smashed them this year? Or EC Glass?
I'm going to go Glass. And Washington as the...
GW as a surprise. All right.
But averaging 50-some points a game in the last... How can that be a surprise?
I know. Well, they're not going to be at 1 or 2 seed. That's why. Division 5, Region A. Salem was the one. Now it's Hampton. You got Salem, Indian River, Nansemond, PA, Gloucester, Green Run, and Norview. I'm saying the favorite right now in this division much to your surprise, you're going to go Hampton. I already know what you're going to go. I'm going to go Indian River as the favorite. Surprise team? Watch out for PA. They have Daryl Jones. He's good enough to win a game if he plays at a high level. I'm going to go PA as a surprise.
Yeah, I'll go PA surprise.
No Gloucester, huh?
No, Hampton win.
Gloucester might have peaked a little too early. Hampton to win it. Now we're at the last four division regions. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. We got Region B. We skipped them, didn't we? We got 7 more. I'm sorry. We got 7 more. Region B in Class 5, Hermitage, Highland Springs, LC Bird. His bracket's loaded. Henrico, Lee Davis, Verina. We'll go Verina as a sleeper, though I don't see them winning more than a game if they even win a game. In this playoff bracket, Hermitage is the favorite, though Highland Springs is 2-time champ, and that's probably where you're going, right?
Yeah, I like Highland Springs. Saw them last year. I'll stay with them.
You know, who's your sleeper?
And give me... yeah, they fit the line.
You're going to count on your golf swing buddy, Vance Harmon, right?
Come on, Vance.
All right, Region C, Broad Run and Stonebridge will play in a week coming up in 2 weeks. They'll both be undefeated, probably at 9-0. John Champ, Tuscarora, who gave Stonebridge a scare last night. I think they're definitely a surprise team and a sleeper, if you want to call them that, which is hard to do. Potomac Falls could be that too. I'm going to go Stonebridge as the favorite. And though it's hard to call them a sleeper because they're very, very good, I'm going to go Tuscarora as the surprise team. That defense much better than I expected. I knew Justin Allen and the quarterback and the offense would do well, but I'm going to go with them as the surprise.
I'm going...
Champ did beat Centerville now, so keep an eye on them.
Broad Run, you say Broad Run and Stonebridge got to play each other.
Up. I got Stonebridge winning that game.
I got to go with the winner of that game to win it all. So, put them both down, // but we'll be able to erase one of them. And then my surprise... Yeah, Potomac Falls.
All right. And Region D in Class 5, Stafford, North Stafford. North Stafford suffered a second unexpected loss, by the way, last night to Brook Point. So Brook Point beats them, Harrisonburg, Albemarle. Harrisonburg's got a dangerous quarterback in A.C. White, so he could win them a game, an ODU target, by the way. I'm going to stick with North Stafford as the favorite. They have Devin Ford, they're a great running back. But, man, Brook Point just beat them. I'd be a little leery of it. You going Brook Point because they just beat them?
Yep.
Figured you would. Who's your surprise? You got one?
I would go...
Massaponics, the triple option. They beat North Stafford this year, too. They could be a live 6 or 7 seed.
Albemarle.
Albemarle, all right. Jaquan Anderson there. And the last 4 regions here as we close up the shop. Lancetown, Ocean Lakes, Oscar Smith, Granby, Cox, Woodside, Tallwood, Bayside, Kellam, Western Branch. Favorite to me is Oscar Smith. Simple as that.
I was going to say Oscar Smith, my sleeper.
Yeah, it's not going to work.
Smith to win it. Smith to win it.
Sleeper's Tallwood to me. Watch out. And they could draw them in the first round, by the way.
Yeah, right off the bat.
Which they'll be winning that game, I don't think. But you and Smith is the favorite. Who's your surprise team? Granby, Woodside, Bayside. Who you got?
Wow.
Who's your
It's a lot in there.
Cox?
I'm going to go with Cox.
Cox is your surprise with Tavion. All right. Region B, Colonial Forge is the favorite. Do I need to ask any more? Manchester and Dale might have something to say about that. Riverbend is a sleeper. I like Riverbend as my sleeper.
Put me down as ditto.
Ditto. Ed Young is ditto. And then the last 2 regions, you got Freedom, who's undefeated, the only one there. Woodbridge, Mount Vernon, Hayfield, Lake Braddock. Hilton is a low seed. Hilton's your sleeper. Freedom's your favorite. And they played a whale of a game, and I'd be all for a rematch, wouldn't you?
Absolutely.
All right. You didn't say, oh, definitely. I didn't say absolutely.
No, he's not here now.
And then the last region is Westfield, George Marshall. Centerville took a loss to Westfield last night. South Lakes, Madison, Patriot, Battlefield. Put me down for Madison as the surprise and Westfield as the favorite. And they played a close game.
Westfield favorite. South Lakes, who just put up 77
You're
last
right.
night.
Great offense.
I spotted that in the newspaper. 77-7 over Herndon, I think it was.
Keep it tuned to VirginiaPreps.com. Listen to us every Saturday, 10 a.m. to noon. High School Sports Talk Plus.
Right there.
And we will do this again next week as we get closer to Happy Halloween time and costumes and trick-or-treats and candy. It's Ed Young's least favorite holiday.
The most
and we're
dumbest holiday in the world.
We're going to make him dress up soon.
Because you got people like him wearing a mask now.
Oh, it's awful. See you later.